I'm out of the trailer. If you're looking for an awning to mount to the side of your vehicle, especially a larger one to give you more shade so you can enjoy your time with your friends, and on top of that you want something that's going to look good on your vehicle too, then the Thule OutLand Awning is going to be a great option for you. So let's check it out. So where I think this one's really going to stand out is if you have a lot of adventures that you're going to be taking with a lot of people too. You want something that's going to be good for either tailgating or camping situations. This is it, because it's going to give us a lot of shade, especially for those more social events. And this almost becomes like a base of operations where you're going to have your food in your vehicle, any of your gear that you need to get to. You want it all in one location, especially with that cooler too. Keeping that cooler in the shade is going to make sure that ice doesn't melt faster, so your drinks stay cool, so you can enjoy yourselves outside. Now I think this one's going to be a little bit better for any of our larger vehicles, like our truck today is going to have a longer bed to it, or if you have any type of trailer, because it is going to be a fairly large awning. Something I want to talk about before we get into all the detail is just the size of it, because I've already hinted at it a few times, but I really want to showcase it now. So this is going to be 8 feet in length, and it's going to be 8 feet and 2 inches in the width. So that kind of gives us an idea of what that is, but what does that actually mean? So me standing right here, I still have plenty of space here. I could probably fit maybe 4 or 5 more people pretty comfortably. I'd probably stick to 4 people though if you wanted to cook something over here or enjoy your meals. So that's actually a decent amount of space. But keep in mind that sun's going to be hitting that awning and moving our shade over here. And throughout the day, that's going to be constantly changing it. At some point, you might not have a lot of shade. But that's the nice thing about this being mounted to the side of our vehicle, because what we can do is just roll this back up and then just move our vehicle if we have the space allotted to us around, and then just set the awning back up, because it doesn't take very long. Now let me talk about some of the touch points we're going to have on here. So there's going to be multiple points. At the bottom, right now I don't have the stake down. When you're using it, I do highly recommend to stake it down. There's going to be 2 holes that you can use that hold it in place. And we're going to have 2 adjustment points on these legs to make it pretty high. So on vehicles like what we have today, it's really important to have that, because with a truck, if we have this too low to the ground, it's going to be at an angle and we won't be getting the shade that we actually need. Another benefit to this one moving too is if I lower this down, this is going to be great, because when it's raining outside, this is going to allow water to run off to the side instead of pooling up in the center, because if it's pooling up in the center, it's going to eventually stretch out that canvas. And another thing with that canvas is, let's say it did stretch out eventually, we're going to have this ratcheting device here on the side, so we can make sure this stays extra tight so we get the best out of it. Now, talking to that canvas, this is going to be a pretty thick one, so it's going to make sure that we don't have any of that sun bleeding through and getting on us, so we can stay nice and cool. Another benefit to this is it's a simple design. You have some of this green streaking across here. I like that because it doesn't stand out too much. Something to keep in mind though is when you're rolling this up, sometimes I've noticed this does get a little bit hot on the very top, so when rolling it up, try to keep your hands underneath it so it doesn't burn them. And all of that's going to go right into our aluminum casing, and that's what I really like about this, because 1, it's going to give your awning extra protection, and 2, when you compare this to other types that mount on top of your roof, a lot of those other awnings have those more canvas bags. I'm not a very big fan of that, because with this one we have today, it gives it more of this sleek design. And I wanted to talk about how this is going to mount to our roof. So you need to make sure you do have a roof rack up top. I already have my key inside of here, so that's nice to know that we do have that extra security so no one can come by and take your nice awning. And you notice how this is kind of put together. So today I'm using our T-channel up top, and I have this actually working with a different brand, so that's nice that it won't only work with the Thule crossbars, but it'll also work with other brands as well. It just works best with Thule crossbars. Now at the moment I'm using that T-channel, so that's a really easy installation. You just have these T-bolts that go through, connect to some nuts, and slides into place. You could use a clamp on. That's just going to have 4 bolts instead with a plate that goes underneath that holds it like that. And then really how the awning mounts to that mount is 2 bolts that come through, have some washers and nuts that hold it in place, and that's all it really is. Press these buttons. That's going to release this opening here. Once you get these open, I'm just going to push it up the rest of the way. I'm going to grab these arms and pull them out. I'm going to leave them at a bit of an angle, so it almost makes like a triangle shape here. And you'll see why here in a second. We get that one out too. Put that out. We're just going to grab the roll. And I like to either put my hands like this or like this, so I can just roll it down and use the other part of my hand as support. And that's why I left those arms at a bit of an angle, so it'd be a little bit easier to support this. Now I'm just going to pull these arms out just a little bit. Give me a little bit more support. I'm not going to pull them out completely yet. And from here, unravel it the rest of the way. And you can actually take out the legs just like that on either end. Let it fall to the ground and come over to one side, place your foot down and lift up. And once it's lifted up, it might kind of angle a bit for you. So what I'm going to do is pull up on this handle to support it more. So it's a bit easier for me. Just like that. Once it's supported, I'm going to come to one end. I'm going to use one of these arms to help hold this in place for me. If you have a friend, it's going to be a lot easier, but if you're by yourself, you can do it this way too. It's going to have a tab at the very end of it. There's going to be a hole here, and that's going to go into it, and just pull it until you get some tension there. And it really helps you out with the setting up process of this. Then I'm just going to do it on the other side. You have a decent amount of tension now. It can hold itself up, but I want it higher since my vehicle's higher. So I'm going to come over here, again, put my foot down, push that tab down, push it up even higher. I could even go higher, but it's kind of creating too much of an angle, so I'll just do it little by little sometimes. So it's not creating too much stress back here. And once we get to that last part, that's where that second section, that second extension is going to come into hand, and it'll lock into place. We'll lock it in right here. Same for this side too. Once that's done, you're typically going to have a little bit of slack. I don't have too much on this side, but that's where we're going to come back over here, ratchet this into place. Okay, one more time. That's pretty good there. But this side, definitely, we have a lot of slack here. And I want that tighter. So I'll tighten that up real quick. And there we have it. Just make sure you come back through and you put your anchor points down on these legs so it's better supported. So overall, I think this is going to be a solid choice because 1, it's really easy to use. 2, it's going to give you a really nice look on top of your roof. And 3, it is fairly large. Now, if you need a different option, another one I would recommend is just a smaller one if you have a smaller vehicle. But if you have a larger vehicle like we have today, you get that real estate, you might as well use it. And when it comes to different types of awnings, there's a lot here on our website. Not all of them are mounted to your roof because this, for me, would probably be my top recommendation for the roof. But if you need something more mounted to the ground and with something further away from your vehicle, you have a lot of options here too. But if you guys do decide to go with this, let us know how it's working for you and what type of adventures you're taking it out for. But again, I'm Matt, and thanks for watching.